Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are checking whether Discovery survival shows are real or if they are scripted. Here are the rules to Discovery's long-running reality show, Naked and Afraid. Two people, a man and a woman, are naked. They're deposited into wilderness with just a few tools, often a knife, a fire starter, and a pot. They face predators, parasites, sunburn, cold and hunger. Their goal is to survive for 3 weeks, but there's no prize for completing the challenge, and anyone can tap out at any time. The challenge has the Edenic concept and is family-friendly. Former Naked and Afraid contestant has spoken and this is her story. When the Discovery Channel invited me to audition for its popular survival challenge reality show, I knew it was going to be rough. What followed was one of the most intense experiences of my life. I had nominated us for a now-defunct couples survival program, which I don't remember, though it's something I would do, and the application made its way to a casting agent. We thought the wilderness challenge seemed like fun. What was the harm in trying out? We sent in some videos, traveled to Los Angeles for interviews, took extensive multiple-choice personality tests, and tried our best to seem charming and competent. After we flew home to Wisconsin, Discovery called to say we'd gotten the gig, but that we'd be separated and sent to different locations. We just had to wait for our placements. From then on, it was all we thought about for months. I thought I'd do pretty well at the challenge. At 30, I had worked in the outdoors professionally for more than a decade. I'd guided and thru-hiked and crossed the Arctic by dog sled, and I'd read a lot of survival stories. In books, it seemed like survivors either shaped the wilderness, made it like home, or went feral, becoming part of it themselves, and I had a pretty good idea how my experience would play out. I'd set up a cozy lean-to on a tropical beach, tip rocks for hermit crabs, 4 calories each, and weave rugs and baskets by firelight after dusk. I'd recognize my partner as my greatest survival asset, even if he wasn't someone I'd pick. I even had my sound bites ready. I don't see this as a test of toughness, I'd say, squinting at the setting sun. I see it as a test of creativity. I got vaccinations for typhoid fever and Japanese encephalitis. I'm going to be on Naked and Afraid, I told my doctor. What is wrong with you? He said. Then he called in his nurses to tell them the news. Could you do it in the forest here? One of the nurses asked. The bugs would kill you. Or the meth dealers, said the other nurse. My mom said she wasn't worried. My dad forwarded me articles about how it's dangerous to eat slugs. I even made a plan for moments during the challenge that I didn't want filmed. I would sing songs with expensive licensing fees so that Discovery couldn't use the footage. The Beatles were famously pricey, right? If I got diarrhea, I'd sing Hey Jude at the top of my lungs. The news came in July, I'd be sent, promptly, to South Africa, and my husband to Honduras. I spent the red-eye flight studying flashcards of sub-Saharan plants, hoping my seat neighbors would ask what I was doing so I could say, "Oh, nothing." A young man with a goatee picked me up at the airport in Polokwane, about 200 miles north of Johannesburg. He dropped me at a stucco-walled guest house called All Days and Onions, established in 1640, where I found a room with a twin bed and a cold shower. The place was empty, no staff or other guests, and I was forbidden to leave. I did yoga in the hallway and snooped in the kitchen, where I found a glass bottle of Coca-Cola and some cartons of juice. Someone brought me towels. A medic came to weigh me and take my vitals. I met my producer, Rachel McGuire, a stern and athletic blonde with diamond earrings, who explained that this particular challenge had a twist. There'd be 2 pairs of survivalists, placed miles apart from each other, and we'd join as a group halfway through. Rachel was a former journalist. Outside the window, past a locked gate, I could see palm trees, flowers blooming on dirt. I watched teenagers flirt at a convenience store across the street. During the challenge, I realized, I'd be experiencing South Africa as a kind of movie set, an environment without its people or history. A pure, imaginary wilderness. Don't try to sneak in a hair tie, she told me. I'll notice. I tried to seem shocked, like sneaking in a hair tie had never occurred to me, not ever. My second night at the hotel, the night before my entry into the wilderness, insertion, in Naked and Afraid lingo, a naturalist came to give me a private hour-long talk on the local environment, the only instruction I would receive. He was a slim, soft-spoken man named Mark, and we sat together at the hotel's deserted bar. I took notes and recorded him. I've never concentrated so hard in my life. I'd be in a place called Mapungubwe, Mark explained, across the Limpopo River from Botswana, near the Tule Wilderness area. The region was known as the Elephant Triangle. In the past few days, up to 70 elephants had been seen together at once. He told me to give elephants space and to be especially cautious around mothers and bulls looking to mate. Sometimes people get circled by them, he said mildly, and that's quite dangerous. There were several male lions roaming the territory, as well as a pride with young. There were leopards. There were hippos. There were Nile crocodiles. Never turn your back on a cat, he said. Never approach water if you can't see the bottom. Never stand in front of a warthog den. Never get between a hippo and water. Never look a leopard in the face. He knew of several females whose trunks had been severed by snares, and they were also likely to be aggressive. I should freeze around elephants, he told me, unless they charged. Then I should run. The boomslang hisses in warning. The unassuming twig snake, he said, was perhaps the most dangerous for us, because it curled silently in branches, blending in with the bark. You could grab it by accident while reaching for firewood. It wasn't aggressive, but if you were bitten, you could die of uncontrollable hemorrhage. Twig snake, do not touch, I wrote in my notes. The Parabuthus scorpion, Mark said, can grow to more than 5 inches. It's nocturnal, with venom as toxic as a black mamba's. Its sting feels like a hot poker filling your whole body. If you snapped off the second segment of a scorpion's tail, you could roast its body over a fire and eat it. The next morning, I put on an olive green dress that a stylish friend had picked for me, curled my eyelashes, and rubbed anti-chafe balm between my thighs. When a truck came to pick me up, I left my backpack and my wedding ring behind. The driver brought me breakfast in a paper bag, egg sandwiches with tomato and bacon, homemade bread, a chocolate bar, and an orange. I'd planned to eat a lot, but I didn't have an appetite. The bread turned to glue in my mouth. I pulled the bacon out and ate it, then ate the chocolate bar. It was all I could stomach. The driver handed me a crisp purple bandana. "You have to wear this," he said. "Sorry." I tied it around my eyes. We drove for a long time, then parked. "Coast is clear," a voice called, and I lifted the bandana, blinking. I lifted the bandana, blinking. We were on a hillside overlooking a red valley, scattered trees stretching into the distance. Far away I made out a line of dense green. It sounds strange, but I hadn't thought about nudity until that moment. Now I stepped out of the truck and found Rachel and several men with cameras on their shoulders, microphones, everything pointed at me. A half-dozen eyes, and millions more behind them. Strangers waiting to watch me take off my clothes. It was almost funny to picture myself as a stranger would see me on TV. I'd be a topic, not a person anymore. The audience was fake to me, and I was fake to it. Slowly, my heart racing, I bent down to unbuckle my sandals. I'd gotten my toenails painted pink during a layover in Chicago, a gel pedicure, and they shone in the sunlight. The dirt was hot under my bare feet. I pulled my dress over my head and folded it carefully on the truck bed. Bra or underwear first? I caught the driver's eye in the rearview mirror. He looked away. All the cameras staring. I took off my bra. Deep breath. Stepped out of my underwear. Here I was, naked. "Great," said Rachel. "Now put it all back on, and we'll film from a different angle." I only took off my clothes twice. That was something Rachel had warned me, that the first day was television. I'd follow the script, if not by words then by action. Two people remove their clothes, walk to a landmark, meet each other, and offer whatever joke or earnest greeting they've rehearsed. They find burlap bags, which disguise their microphone transmitters, and a map, which always looks like it was made with kid pics. They locate a water source, head toward it, and the rest of the challenge is up to them. No script, no guidelines, no plan. Thanks for watching the video. We are going to do part 2 of the video where we will see what happened after there.